Redditors who lost their job because of a post to a social media platform. What happened? I worked customer support for a mobile game company. I was honest with a disheartened customer who had complained that recent changes had made the game pay to win. It had, in truth, been a glitch with an update. I told them as much, assuring them the team would be fixing it in the next update. But then the game's profits skyrocketed. The team kept the glitch and put out a statement describing the change as an intentional one designed to improve the play experience. But there was my name plastered all over the game forums, claiming the opposite. I technically worked for a separate company that provided support for several studios, but the studio behind this game was our biggest customer. They approached my bosses. Furious, I jeopardized their cash cow and demanded I be fired. I promptly became familiar with the underside of the bus, as I was gone within the week. TLDR. Worked customer support for mobile games. Told truth. Went viral. Fired. Didn't lose my job, but I watched a friend loses over a tweet. He tweeted, "So getting head while delivering pizzas is pretty sweet," one night while he was working. The next morning he tweeted, "Yo frick you Papa John's, I don't need you or your stupid job anyway," or something to that effect. I've never laughed so hard in my life. I imagine him having a crappy life and making up a BJ story for some Twitter entertainment. Tries to explain he was lying, but PJ doesn't believe him and fires him. I used to work for Geek Squad in college, and a co-worker was fired when a famous actor came in and she posted on Facebook a lot of his private info. Like full name, came into our store and bought this and has a black Amex card and stuff he had on his computer. Not once but on 2 separate occasions. That's a special kind of stupid. She could have got herself and the company into a lot of trouble. A former colleague of mine posted about how he was going to use up all his sick leave then quit. He posted it at 9 AM. He was told he had no more job at 11. If you want to keep a secret, then don't tell it to anyone. Not me, but the company I work for. A prospective employee just passed his interview and was told that all he needs to do is pass a drug test and a physical and he would start on Monday. The company Facebook guy found the new hire on Facebook and the guy had just posted 20 minutes after the interview. Crap. Anyone know how to pass a drug test in 24 hours? I was younger and an idiot. I posted something on Facebook about wanting to go home and play The Sims so I could create telecommunications store I worked for on it and then slowly kill off all the customers. I was working a late night shift in a mall and forgot our new co-worker had added me on Facebook days before. Joined a games studio alongside a guy who'd just finished his philosophy degree. He felt that the game's official forums were the best place to discuss whether disabled people would be of as much value as pigs after a post-apocalyptic event, and if they should be simply slaughtered and eaten, all using his company account, of course. Do you work for the Darkfall team? Haha. I've had one employer refuse to hire me because I didn't have a Facebook at the time. Wasn't a HR or social job, it was a fast food joint. Would have been funny if you made a Facebook account with just your boss and your dad on it. Make only posts about how much you love your job on there. I was let go from the nation's 3rd largest insurance company for what were called offensive tweets. Apparently someone with my similar name was tweeting vulgar things to comedy accounts and they brought me into HR and terminated me. Yes, I sued for wrongful termination so I could finish getting my MBA. Apparently someone with my similar name. What the actual frick? This wasn't even you. You'd think the army of lawyers insurance companies are known to would have nipped this in the bud. I was once passed over for a job because I barely use Facebook. They straight up told me that they couldn't trust me because of how little info was on my page. For future reference, I'm sorry employers that 90% of my Facebook page is related to StarCraft and or miscellaneous gaming. I'm sorry that I don't get drunk and post embarrassing photos of things you could fire me over. My personal life is my business and not Facebook's. You must construct additional profiles. We require more discreditable posts. A company I worked for had it written into their 7-page contracts that you were not allowed to even reference said company on social media. Anyone in breach would be fired instantly. There's a page on Facebook called We Hate that's currently one of the world's biggest corporate hate pages. It all started when someone working in our call center posted online about how much the customers suck. Then began something of a war between the staff and customers. Customers posting on employees' walls and vice versa. The company was a major player in its market, essentially had a monopoly, and there was a noticeable drop in sales that year. All in all, around 20 people were fired. Converges. It is. I know it is. Remember the story. I work in a hospital and there was a police shooting in my area a couple of years ago and multiple officers were brought into our. One officer was DOA and a number of idiot hospital employees posted condolences on their Facebook pages with the name of the officer before the family was officially informed. If memory serves, 7 or 8 employees were rightfully fired for that one. Not me, but a co-worker of mine was fired recently because he got caught sneaking off work to smoke herb and drink by Facebook. This moron would post photos of him smoking and drinking on Facebook. The boss found out and predictably fired him on the spot. The best part, this guy was almost 30 years old, and not just some dumb teenager. Dumb teenager is a state of mind. He was definitely a dumb teenager. Not me, but a girl on my Facebook worked for the postal service in my town. She posted on Facebook how she wanted to slit her boss's throat and went into some gory details. Then, about 5 hours later, she posted another status about how the feds showed up at her house and that one of her co-workers had showed her boss the status and she was now fired. She's obviously really dumb and trashy. Going postal. I had to fire an employee for a tweet he wrote about a customer. He tweeted, "Customer's full name would be a great name for a gay P-star." I found out about it when the customer's lawyer called me the next day threatening action. Turns out the guy worked for the local newspaper and obsessively searched his name on all social media. A little over a year ago, a bunch of employees at my old job got a rash. It wasn't contagious. Our blood was clean, and the doctors were confused. I took steroids from day one and had it for a little over 2 weeks, I believe. I didn't even have it as bad as a couple people. Everyone continued to work, even though some people had it in exposed areas. Employees were itching and talking about it, but management did nothing. Even the manager had it, but the owner didn't, so he didn't care to take any action. Well, I posted a picture of my rash on Reddit and gave absolutely no information on where I worked. It got to the front page of our WTF and a co-worker saw it and obviously recognized it. He showed people because he thought it was funny. A Redditor connected the dots to spell dong. That one was passed around. But there was a co-worker already out to get me and she was close with our manager. So they told the owner that I had posted the picture on Facebook, which obviously would have been a big deal. So the manager told me to leave, but said she would have the owner meet with me. I knew as soon as I got home that she wasn't going to tell the owner to contact me, but I was already planning to quit the next weekend, so I didn't bother to meet with him. I'm not working at a place that allows the majority of their staff to get a rash and not investigate it. I should probably add that this was a restaurant. That story took a turn for the worst given that last sentence. How could management and the owner be so careless? That could ruin a restaurant to a point of no return. Not me, but my mom's ex-boyfriend. He was a waiter at a very elite restaurant and had normally expected very nice tips. Some guy left him a $5 tip for an over $100 bill and he got pee and posted the customer's information on Facebook. He got fired the next day. Deserved it. Not me, but in my town was a very public case where the girls' basketball coach lost her job because she posted a picture of her husband touching her breast on Facebook. Lots of people got mad and she got her job back. Now she and her husband, who is a coach at a different school, are leaving to coach at a charter school in a different town. Teachers aren't supposed to be real people. I had to fire someone for one. He was a volunteer firefighter and left for a call, which I allowed. 15 minutes later someone showed me his 5-minute-old post of him riding quads saying something along the lines of "sometimes you just need to F off from work." That put him on a final warning. He then left because he said his house was on fire. Then half an hour later his wife tagged him in a photo of him sitting in a kiddie pool in front of his house. The funny thing is, In both cases, if he had simply asked to leave early, I probably would have said yes. My female friend, 18, was DM'd through Twitter by the news presenter, 37 of our city. He was talking about her beach pictures and how she is really pretty and how they need to get together. She ended up telling him that it's pretty ridiculous that he's trying to get with her. He lost his job later that week. The only real reason he lost his job was because he used the Weather Channel's Twitter account. Oh, this happened to me many years ago. I was on the job a week at a law firm and had to ride with one of the female employees to the UPS store. She was a terrible driver and almost wrecked multiple times. I posted on Facebook, "1 week on the job and my co-worker is trying to kill me. Worst driver ever." The next day I was called into my boss's office with the girl sitting there with an expressionless look on her face. And there was a printout of my post. It was awkward and they fired me on the spot. All of my account information was also set to private, so they figured a way to check my activity. You have a mutual friend with that girl. Former Chipotle manager here. As many of you know, Chipotle gives away free crap on Halloween, so it's a mandatory weekend for everyone to work. Well, one of our employees called off that Thursday saying he had swine flu. Right. Of course he posted pics of his weekend partying on his FB, upon which he was friends with our kitchen manager, general manager, and district manager. Per company policy and common freaking sense, you can't return to work from serious contagious crap without a doctor's note. So he shows back up on Wednesday acting all fine and saying the doc cleared him. Oh, but his mom threw his release note away. Too bad, buddy. We need that crap or you can't work. Since we didn't know when he would have it, we only gave him 1 day on the schedule anyway. So then his mommy calls me and asks why he can't work. I ask her if she went to a restaurant and found out a cook hadn't proven he was cleared from having swine flu, would she eat there? She saw my point. But it's not his fault she threw away the note. They were remodeling. I asked, why can't the doc write a new one? Well, he went on vacation. Couldn't the receptionist or a PA get them something? She huffed and hung up on me. The next day he puts on FB near Chipotle and managers. Instead of cutting hours on someone, why not grow the freaking balls to fire them outright? Suck my dong. Pretty easy to let him go after that. A good friend of mine needed some personal time after a rough breakup and told his manager my uncle got hurt in a rock climbing accident. His boss just said, "Anthony, you can just ask for a personal day." I got fired from an internship for posting on Reddit before. It was a very small environmental engineering consulting firm. We were doing work on a site that had lead and arsenic contamination on it. The site was very dusty, and if it didn't rain for a few days the dust would often kick up and blow onto the street next to the site, which happened to be the main road in this semi-smallish town. Someone mentioned on Reddit, in a totally unrelated way, that they were from this town. I made a mention of the contamination and told the dude that if he ever saw dust coming off the site that he should contact the engineers, which were housed above one of the local bars. Apparently this guy didn't really want the site to be redeveloped at all because of the already high congestion in the surrounding roads, and he called and complained and mentioned my post on Reddit. The company was so small it was obvious it was me who posted it, and I fessed up about what I had said and immediately deleted the post. Even though I didn't do anything illegal or even remotely immoral, I was fired because I was seen as a liability. Frick that. People deserve to know if the dust they're breathing in could give them cancer. I moved on to a different field, marine biology, and haven't even remotely looked back. Whoa, that guy is a douchebag. You were trying to help. I remember hearing a story about a young teacher in my province getting fired for posting vacation pictures to Facebook. Bikini, margaritas. A dipshit parent or teacher reported it, as any uptight group of PTA mothers would want to defend young eyes from that. That's stupid. See, this is the sort of crap that pisses me off. A teacher who is on holiday has the right to privacy and should be allowed to do whatever they want outside the school, so long as she is not wearing bikinis and drinking margaritas in school. I am a-okay with it. What people do outside their work lives, and on holiday especially, is of no concern to anyone. I didn't actually get fired, because I just don't post about work, but I did once get written up, almost suspended, but my supervisor convinced management he needed me for the shifts that day. Once, I was scheduled to work a double, 16 hours, No breaks in between 3 days in a row. Before I went in for my last double, I updated my Facebook saying I am so tired. They literally tried to suspend me for that. Once upon a time at a large East Coast electric company, we had a big winter storm and were pulling 18 per hour shifts all week for roughly 2 months. Anyone stating that they were tired or miss their family, whether to a customer, on social media, or to a co-worker, was fired on the spot. That place was heck. Guy at my company got sacked for putting a Facebook status along the lines of FNG immigrants. I hate them not realizing both his bosses, also owners of the company, were second generation immigrants from India. They started the company from scratch and now employ 30 people. They pay for full gym membership, healthcare, and generous pension for all the staff, which he had to say goodbye to when he was fired. How's that for your effing immigrants? I saw a friend post an anti-immigrant meme on FB recently. Her parents and her in-laws are immigrants. I suspect her issue is with immigrants of color, not European immigrants. Not me, but a teacher got fired because she had been tagged in a photo on Facebook of her in a brewery. She'd gone on a tour while on vacation. She wasn't holding beer or anything, was just in the photo. I didn't get fired, but I did get written up for a post on Facebook. It was about 5 years ago at my old job. Spring just started and it was the first day. It was in the 60s. On lunch I posted something like, "What a beautiful day. Can't wait to get out of work and enjoy it." Well, that didn't go over well. Funny thing is, I wasn't Facebook friends with anyone from work. They had one guy that would creep people's FB. This is when I learned about privacy settings. He told the boss and I got pulled in the office. They basically asked why I didn't like my job and why I couldn't wait to get out of work. I was like, it's the first warm day in what feels like 6 months. Of course I want to be outside. The reason I got written up was because I was on Facebook at work even though I was on lunch. Bunch of buttholes worked at that place. Labor and employment lawyer here. I've seen people fired for the following: posts insulting a supervisor, the employer, customers, co-workers, posts that show the employee has been lying about something. For example, he's been out on FMLA leave claiming he's in so much pain he can't sit upright at his desk, and then he posts a picture of himself weightlifting. Posts showing the employee is violating the rules of the workplace, especially WRT safety or hygiene. For example, a factory worker posting a pic of himself climbing on dangerous machinery. Posts so offensive that the company could suffer PR damage if the general public knew this person was an employee. For example, xenophobic chauvinistic jokes. Posts advocating the overthrow of the government. Posts by a doctor mocking a patient's illness. Posts by an employee bragging about how she is so overpaid, etc. It's worth noting that most employees in the US are at will by default. That means you can quit for any reason at any time, but your employer can also fire you for any reason at any time. There are obviously exceptions to this. For example, if there is a contract that provides otherwise, if the employer fires you for an illegal reason, etc. But unless some exception applies to your situation, there's usually nothing wrong with an employer looking at your stupid Facebook posts and deciding, hey, not really someone we'd like to have on board. Not me, but a friend of mine. He and his girlfriend, at the time, both worked at Zeller's. He worked as the head cook in the in-store restaurant, and she worked as a server hostess. After a few years of being together, they decided to get married. They announced their engagement proudly to everyone, and the branch manager of their Zeller's gave them a massive discount on food and supplies for the wedding. The wedding preparation took nearly a year, but they pulled it off and had a great wedding. When they went to return to work, however, my friend's wife was promptly dismissed because husbands and wives aren't allowed to work in the same department. After months of lead up to their wedding, the manager somehow forgot to inform the happy couple that getting married would mean one of them being let go. So my friend posted on his Facebook, Zeller's has a policy where a husband and wife may not work in the same department. Because they did not tell me and my wife this policy, my wife has been fired. If you disagree with this policy, please contact Zeller's at. The next day, he was fired as well. I had a co-worker who posted something about shooting up X World TM and got reported. He had several co-workers on his Facebook page, and then fired. Another coworker is consistently posting hateful things about his job and his coworkers, but has not been fired yet, just reprimanded. On a sort of related note, I was suspended in high school because a friend posted a terrorist threat via my Facebook. One of our best agents got fired for this. She was a single mom, fairly new to the job, but she was great at it. She posted up, "I hate having to go work, but I'm blessed to have a job at company name." Bam. Walked out the door. I posted my Facebook status about how big of dickhead my boss is, and tagged him. "You have been visited by the money bird. It'll bring you good fortune, but only if you subscribe in 42 seconds or less. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check out another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day, you magnificent people."